everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Late Night Yap. Today, we have a bit of an interesting topic to speak on before we get into our Reddit stories, which is one of the new Netflix documentary series called High School Catfish. Now, if you have not seen this documentary or heard about this case, there is going to be some spoilers that I'm going to announce in this episode here. So, if you haven't seen it or you wanted to watch it, I would recommend going ahead and skipping to our Reddit stories. In the description below, you can see all the stories that I've linked together. And if you have and you want to yap about it, which is what we gonna do, because that's the whole point of the late night yap, is to yap, okay? And I finally found the perfect topic for me to talk about tonight. So, if you're staying here with me, good luck, because we finna dive right in. But if you're one of those that doesn't want any spoilers yet, go on and skip forward, because we're about to get into this. Now, we're not gonna go over all of the details of the case. We're mostly just going to talk about the case in general as like a conversation. I am by no means a true crime specialist. I'm not a true crime influencer. I don't know how to set this up. All I know is how to talk, and that's exactly what we're going to do. And the reason why I really wanted to go through this is because my opinion as like a mother, this is vile. It's disgusting. And why would you want to do that to like your kid? I feel like this case in general, I feel like the documentary a little bit downplayed the severity of the situation of what this mother actually did to her daughter, and also this little boy, and like tons, like a few other kids and parents as well. Like, this is just pure evil what this woman did. And the fact that she like this like the gravity of this situation, I don't even think the kids themselves understand the severity of the situation that they were in. Like, I don't even think they can comprehend it just yet. Even though it's been a while, I don't think they fully understand what could have happened if this had escalated past text messages. And maybe they do. I don't know. I could be wrong. But when they start off this documentary, they have everybody being interviewed, and they start off with the kids and then the parents. So they're interviewing everybody. And the first person I think they really showed in this interview was Owen and Lauren. And they had them by talking and starting out like, when did the text messages start? And they said that they started in October. I believe I remember them saying they were invited to like a Halloween party, and that's when the first text message came through and where the first texting kind of started. Now, I did some digging, and the first message that I believe was read was ugly. Too ugly for anyone to love you. Now, even looking at that first message, just the absolute insanity that that was even the mother. Now, and the mother says she says that she didn't admit to it like she pleaded guilty, but she didn't necessarily give a full statement on why she did what she did. Her statement was that somebody else had started it, and she basically created this persona and stalked and harassed these kids later on to try and figure out who it was that was originally harassing these children. When people do something so incredibly dark and irrational, they try to play it off as, well, it wasn't me at first, but I kind of ended it. Or, she just basically was saying, like, I didn't know how to stop, but it was somebody else at first. So she wasn't the one that started the texting, which I don't believe. And if you look at this documentary, you even see the sister talking about her, which Kendra is the mom. Kendra, the mom, is the one who was stalking and harassing her daughter Lauren and her boyfriend Owen. These kids were in 8th grade when the texting started. So they were freshly going into high school in 9th grade. They were 14, I believe, that they said in the documentary. Could you imagine, we'll just pause on the last thought for a second. Can you imagine going into your first year of high school? Just imagine going into a new school. It's a high school, so you're not in the same school that you were. It's a different school. Well, actually, for them, I think the school goes all the way up, so it's like K all the way up to, so they don't have to go to a different school. But usually when you do, but anyways, never mind about that, because I don't think they didn't have to. They were all like with the same kids. But yeah, so it's like you're going into this new school year, you're a new high school student, you're trying to figure out who you are, you're trying to figure out who your friends are, who your friend group is, who you want to be. You're discovering yourself. You're trying to navigate this new, you know, life that you're going through. Like when you get into high school, a lot of kids they're hitting puberty and they're going through all these things, and you have these two kids who were just confused. They didn't understand who it was, why they were being stalked, why this person was even messaging them. They were even comparing messages. They weren't upset with each other at first, but after like almost this like almost 3 years this mom doing this to them. And I just some of the messages that I read in the documentary, I think one of them they were kind of like explicit, like intimately explicit on like doing sexual things to this little boy. I just don't understand what went through this woman's mind. I don't get it. It has to be jealousy. And we see this a lot. We see it a lot of mothers being jealous of their daughters. We do see that happen. And the sister was always saying that when she would come into a room or something, or if she was talking, she was like, oh, my sister would be in the corner dancing to get people to look at her. And she would always try to do things to like be the center of attention. Now, one of the conspiracies that I read was that the mother did this in order to gain her daughter's attention back because the daughter's attention was on the boyfriend and she was jealous of the boyfriend and wanted the boyfriend to, you know, go away so that she could be with her daughter again and, you know, be her hero and be her center of attention and tell her everything instead of telling the boyfriend everything. But the only reason why I don't fully believe that conspiracy would be true is because she was texting the kid, the boy, Owen, some very incredibly disgusting and deeply disturbing sexual things. And she was also texting the daughter the same things too that she was going to do to the little boy. They didn't know who it was at first. And then when you start realizing that that was that grown lady texting that to them little kids, that is what got me. Because then I was like, oh my gosh. And how would you even think of that? And even the officer is like, these texts like made me blush as a grown man, which is kind of gross. Okay. Like, bro, you're a cop. This is your job. Chill out. But even that, like, can you imagine? And then they start telling you that Owen, you know, after Lauren and Owen decided to break up because they thought the messages would stop if they broke up because they figured that the person texting them wanted them to break up, right? So they break up. But the messages got worse. This woman sent over 500,000 text messages to these kids within that time. She was texting them in the night, during the day. I don't know where this woman found the time. I without anybody catching her. She was a basketball coach, she was a softball coach, she helped out the school. She was a big part of like everything like events that went on in the school. She was a huge part of her daughter's. Her daughter played on the basketball team. Where did this woman find the freaking time, dude? And nobody caught her in that school texting like that. Like and then you have to think too, she had tons of devices at home that she was doing this on. Somebody, I mean, I don't know if maybe the husband was just working too much and he didn't notice that she was doing these things, or maybe I don't know. But this woman, after they had broken up, Owen started wanting to talk. He figured it's been a while now. We don't know who this person is. They have the police involved. The FBI is involved. And you're looking at all these things, and Owen's just like, I want to be high school. Like, I want to live my life. They're telling these parents, take away the phones, all of this and that. Somehow, Kendra found out that Owen was dating a new girl and then was texting her. How this woman got this little girl's number, I don't even know. And then she found the little girl's mom and was texting her phone number. Do you find these people? Like, Owen's mom didn't even know this woman. She never even met her yet. And the girl wasn't even in their, like, vicinity. She was, like, somewhere else. That is disturbing shit. Like, and then to say that because she was jealous of the daughter, there's no fucking way. Like, if you were jealous of your daughter, why are you texting these people? She wanted that little boy. I'm gonna tell you right now, I fully believe that this grown lady was trying to groom this little boy, and she probably saw him and was like, oh, I deserve that. I deserve that kind of, like, why didn't I get my high school sweetheart when I was in high school? Why didn't I get that attention when I was in high school? Because these kids were like called like the forever couple. People wanted to be like them. People were jealous of them. Like these kids, they grew up together. So these families have known these kids since they were like babies. They've been knowing each other for a very, very long time. Like a long time that they've watched these kids grow up together. And when you listen to Owen, he starts talking about like at the end of the documentary, he starts saying how like she was oddly too close to him, how she always wanted to like cut his steak for him and do like weird little things for him that typically when you're going over to your girlfriend's house, your future mother-in-law would not do for you. And then she would start texting him, not as the anonymous person, but as like her herself. And she would try to hold conversations with him through the cell phone when he wasn't at her house. And I just think it's so odd. And I really think that this woman, she really wanted that boy. She wanted what her daughter had. She wanted to show, well, I can have that. It's just the audacity, the entitlement, and then to sit there and say, "Oh, well, I didn't start it," or "Well, I didn't mean for it to go that far." You told your daughter to unalive herself multiple times. You didn't just say it once. And then her excuse to that was, "Oh, well, I know my daughter and I know she wouldn't do that." A lot of us know a lot of people and don't think that they would do that, and a lot of them do. That is no excuse. And if she ever sees this as a mother, I could never think. Like, I don't even want to go back to high school. I'm an adult. I'm a grown woman. There is nothing a little boy or a little girl has that I want. Besides maybe no wrinkles. But realistically, oh gosh. But realistically, like, come on, girl. You know what you did. You know what you did. And some people think that Lauren was in on it. Some people think that she was doing it with her mom and that they were like a team and they were doing it together. And I think a lot of people think that is because while Kendra was in prison, Lauren still kept in contact with her. Now, and my thing is, the police, they did everything almost the best way that they could do it. And they let this little girl continue to talk to this woman, which is what I'm saying. Like in the documentary, Lauren, she says that like her mom is her everything. She still wants her mom to be a part of her life. And I could understand. I read a story of somebody who went through very something tragic with their family. Y'all probably have read the story or like heard me read the story. And they were, wondering like why, like, am I wrong to mourn my family or to like want to be a part of my family again? And I think, this young girl, if she was not a part of it, she was manipulated by this woman. I mean, the husband was too. And who's to say? I mean, they data dumped every single device in that house. They had a warrant for every device, and the only devices that came back were hers. They did a full extent dump. So if it was Lauren doing it, they would have figured that out. They would, if it came from her device. But I just I think that this woman, she manipulated this little girl. She really, I mean, when you're young like that, and even when you're 21, you're still so naive and innocent, and just you don't really fully understand certain things until they start happening. Like in the police footage when they showed up to their house, I remember when I first saw that video, the look in this little girl's eyes when she looked over at her mom, when the police were trying to tell her, like, your mom is the one that did this to you. She kind of looked at her and she was like, and you could see that kind of thought process going through this girl's mind, like, you're the one who sent me all those messages for the last couple of years. That was her. And you can kind of see her replaying the messages that stuck with her the most in her head, and like trying to figure out, like trying to piece together, like, was there something I missed? Was there a clue that would have just given her away, that I would have known it was her? How could the person that I trusted, the person that I went to and told that this was happening to me, she literally went to her mom and she told her, like, this is what's been going on for the last year. I don't know what to do. They won't stop. They won't leave me alone. Like, she begged this person to stop texting her, to leave her alone, to please let her have her life back. And this mother, she went to the principal. She was the one who initiated it. She was the one who was like, we have to figure out who this person is, and da 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 da, and like with these parents, and they're trying to do this and this. And she was like the main ringleader. So if you could imagine this little girl sitting here, like, they're lying, right? Like, they're not telling the truth, right? Because see, if it was me, and that was me in that situation, because I know who I was as a little girl. Y'all can ask my mama, because I don't play no games. Okay, if my mama would have did some crap like that to me, okay, and then the police officers came and they were like, yeah, that was your mom the whole time, I would have whooped that woman's butt in front of everybody. I would have been ready to throw hands. Like, I may not look like it, okay, but I'm a pretty sturdy bitch. Okay, like, let's just get that straight. I am Duval, born and raised. Let me tell you something. Had I found out that my mother was texting me like that, baby, I would have thrown hands hard in every direction. I would have been pissed. Okay, because there is no logical explanation that you could ever have given me to make me think that what you did was okay. And this poor little girl, like I said, they're kids, they're young, they don't understand. Had this, so let's just say that they followed the police's advice and they took away the phones and they blocked the number. Well, they did block the number, but they changed the phone number, or they just took the phone away completely and wouldn't let him have it. And they just turned the phone off. And that was that. And she couldn't text them no more. What would she have done? Do you think she would have stopped? Do you think that the messages, she would have found a new way to harass them? Or this could have turned really seriously dark. What if she kidnapped that boy? She was definitely obsessed with him. She could have done a lot of things. And the family, I forget the girl's name, but the family with the husband who's the police officer and the guy, he clocked it like hardcore. And even the mother in that documentary, she even stated like you see a lot of these documentaries and the way they end, and they don't normally end like that. This woman was supposed to serve 35 years in prison, and she only served 5 because she pled guilty. And she still in the documentary is trying to say, I feel like this woman really gives me like Casey Anthony vibes when it comes to the camera and being able to manipulate people and being able to use words in a way that makes you believable. She is no better. She is no better. And that says a lot. I just get the same vibe here. I feel this woman was capable of a lot more. And she served her time. She's out now. I think she's still on probation, but it ends soon. I don't remember. But she's not allowed to have contact with her daughter at all. And if these people are smart, they would have these kids in therapy. They would keep that woman far away. I just feel it's so sad that this girl still wants her mom in her life. She still wants her mom around. I think that this is not the end. If they do end up reuniting, this is not over. This will happen again. But this time it'll be more severe because Lauren will be an adult. And what is she going to do then? Lauren and they keep saying like it's a type of like cyber Munchausen syndrome. And it really is at this point because it's almost like what's she going to because I just it's just so crazy, you guys. It's crazy. How the fuck did she find like this girlfriend's number and the mother? Like how are you texting people that y'all don't know who they are? Because it wasn't just the kids in the town. Like that's just it's so crazy to me. And then to really have the audacity to do this documentary and then to sit there and act like it wasn't you doing it. That's what really got me the most. The way that they set this documentary up was like crazy because they had this mom sitting here like, yeah, I was doing all this stuff and we are trying to figure out who it was. And then in the end, they were like, yeah, it was me the whole time. It was me. Like, what the fuck? I can't. But I really do hope that these kids, they get therapy. And I hope that in the future, that Lauren understands that she's too good for that. She's too pretty. I mean, her mother took away everything from her. Her whole high school career is over. It's gone. No, who she doesn't have any friends. She doesn't want to be friends with anybody. She can't trust anybody. You know, she doesn't she's going to have PTSD for the rest of her life. And you may think it was just text messages, you know, whatever, like that, it was severe. Severe messages, like telling her to off herself like 8, 10 times a day. That's insane. And even the little boy was like telling them, like, you make me want to like hurt myself now because these are just outrageous. Like, we just want you to stop. And then she just wouldn't stop and just kept going and going and going. It's like, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't. And I still can't. If I was Owen's mother and I had like started to figure out, like I couldn't even understand, this woman probably felt sick. Like this woman probably threw up. I would feel so sick to my stomach. I would be throwing up. I wouldn't be okay. I would be, of course, angry that this mother who I sat with, who helped me try to figure out who this person was, and it was her the whole time, like nobody believed it. Nobody believed it. They couldn't believe what they were hearing. And the cops had thousands of pages of proof at this point that it was her, you know, and they're like, we have to come to the like you guys have to understand it was her, you know, like there's no other thing, like you have to just accept it that it was her because we have the proof, you know. And you feel like this kid was in her house. She was a big part of everyone's life. And when you trust someone like that and then you find out that they're just a monster, like a very sick individual monster, because you have to have something seriously wrong with you. I don't know what kind of mental illness that is, but it's not good. And this woman could have went seriously deranged. Seriously deranged. I don't know if any of y'all ever watched Pretty Little Liars, but if you know what I'm talking about, and the part where like Charlotte like made them like dolls, I could literally see that being Kendra. Kendra is literally fucking A. Like she is literally A. This could have and it could have went so bad. Like what if Lauren was Allison and she decided to unalive her daughter and then her daughter went missing? I'm telling you, this gives me Pretty Little Liar vibes. It gave me like so like I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Because I was sitting there editing while I was watching this documentary because I was like, oh, this will be good to watch. And then I was like, and then I had to stop editing because I was just so appalled. Like, there's no way. There's no way. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? What did you guys initially feel like? What is your conspiracy? What do you guys think as to why she did it? Personally, though, I don't think that we'll ever get the truth from her. And if Lauren was in on it, which I don't think she was. I just don't get that vibe that she was. Like she didn't have any clue. But if like, what do you think the mom would say? That she would confess that she was in love with Owen, or that she just wanted her daughter to be close to her, that she didn't want her to have attention from anybody else. I don't know because I mean she didn't really seem to keep tabs on her husband like that from what they said, but I don't really know because I don't remember hearing like I mean, I know she was controlling and she was controlling the finances and lying about her job and all that kind of stuff. And but I don't think that like the husband was like, "Oh, you can't go anywhere. You can't do this. You can't do that." Like she wasn't really, unless it was like a family outing and then she would kind of like control everybody in the family outing, but I don't know. But if you have a conspiracy in what you think that this mom like why she did it, and like I said, I don't think we'll ever know unless if Lauren was a part of it, if she says something, or if the mom just decides, you know what, I can't live with this guilt anymore, like this is why I did it. I don't know. It's absolutely insane. But anyways, that was the end of our Yap conversation for that documentary. And now we are going to move on to the second best part of this. And we are going to read our Reddit stories. Now, for today's stories in this episode, we're going to be reading coworker stories. So that means bad coworkers, entitled coworkers, whatever them crazy coworker stories these people's got on Reddit is what we are reading today. So, anyways, let's start with our first story. Coworker accidentally sent their resignation letter to the whole company. Yesterday, one of my coworkers turned in their resignation. Supposedly, they meant to send it to just our manager in HR, but it went to the entire company instead, like 200 people. The subject line was harmless, just resignation, but the email itself, pretty brutal. It called out 60-hour weeks with no extra pay, middle managers who create more problems than they solve, and ended with, "Thanks, but I'm done wasting my time here." They told people later that it was a mistake with all the staff list, but I don't know. How does that even happen? It reads, it read like something written to be seen. The first comment says, doubtful it was an accident, but props to that person. I want to send a peace out message on Teams calling people out when I leave, but probably won't have the balls. LOL. Second comment says, as a middle manager, I would love to see how your company management responds to this. Yeah, I mean, honestly, we don't honestly have the full email here, which I wish that they would have read the entire full email because that would have been really like funny to see what exactly these people said. Who's to say if it was an accident or not? I mean, I've sometimes like sent messages, like email specifically, and sent it to like more than one person by accident. Like it's really easy to do if you're like if you're in an office setting and you have like a company email, it is pretty easy for you to accidentally send things to people that you're not meaning to send them to because I've done it. I've done it before. But when you're sending something important like that, like you know to double check. They definitely did that on purpose. Colleague stole my position and now I get to watch her struggle worse than I did. I'm a teacher at a decent, affluent public school for the most part. I love my job. I've made genuine friends among the staff members, and the students make the hard work worth it. There are, of course, negative parts to teaching, as you hear about low pay, grading off hours, etc., but for the most part, the deal has been good. A few years back, I was recognized by my old boss as a potential leader in the building. He stressed to me that I was very data oriented and likable among my colleagues. I know my way around Google Sheets and Excel when it comes to collecting organizing student data, and I'm really solid with parent communication. I was hesitant, but eventually I agreed and became the leader for a group of teachers and students at the school in charge of organizing meetings, overall student educational success, etc. The old boss who promoted me left, and I was stuck with a new boss who I didn't know very well. Here's where things get messy. I have sensory processing disorder and mild hearing loss. It's hard to explain sometimes, but I genuinely do not hear things correctly. Think if he said, I'm going to pick up Stacy, I might hear something like, I'm gone, just wait and see. That happens at least once a day, and usually it's not that big of a deal. Unfortunately, it isn't curable, but I manage. In meetings with my new boss would push strategies that were based around focusing on students who state test scores were almost passing. The idea was that you would focus on all students but give extra attention to these guys. These initiatives were never written down, and I would find out later that was because the legality of such a thing is iffy at best. When these ideas were shared with me, I would constantly ask the boss after meeting to repeat herself and then check my notes to make sure I heard her correctly. I noticed at the time that she was passively frustrated that I would do this, even though I explained I have a hearing disorder. Looking back, I wonder if she felt pressured knowing what we were doing wasn't kosher if I made a bad impression. Now to introduce the main character of the story, who we'll call Tenny, since she's the coach of the tennis team. Oh, Tenny. Tenny is well liked by staff members for her years of service towards our community in a particular area. I also like Tenny a lot, and I figured she'd be a great team member. Tenny, however, liked my boss, became repeatedly frustrated when I would miss things she would say to me, especially in crowded high school hallways. Sometimes she would even shout something to me as I walked past. This led to many gaffes and mistakes. I asked her repeatedly to pause and make sure I got what she was saying or to email me, but nothing changed. There were at least 5 or 6 big moments that my hearing wasn't accommodated for when a simple email could have solved the problem. Just as one example, my new boss came into the hallway to let us know that an assembly location was being changed. We were to take the students to a new area, not the old one. Of course, I heard a change, but I didn't hear the location. Tenny was the only one nearby. I tapped my ear, which I usually do indicate I didn't hear something, and asked where we were going. Tenny quickly responded and walked away, and I once again didn't understand. Cue me and my students walking to the assembly 5 minutes later after walking them around the building in confusion. My new boss asked what happened. I told her that I didn't hear her correctly. Weeks later, I was called into a meeting with my new boss, and she told me that I was going to lose my leader position due to inconsistency and disrespect towards colleagues. I asked her which colleagues, and she told me that it was private. I asked her how I was disrespectful, and she said, Sometimes you get frustrated when you say you can't hear things and tap your ear." And I said that was an ASL sign for hear, as in I can't hear you. And she said I should have communicated that. I said that I've asked for written communication constantly. She said I shouldn't always expect it. I knew I was I knew it was a losing game, and any explanation I would provide would be shot down. I love the school and the community, and fighting new boss is only going to lead to more problems. I shouldn't have been surprised when a school-wide email was sent out that Tenny was going to get the leader position. Tenny was praised by colleagues in replies, alls, and frustrating to the least. I know that she was the one who complained, and it was extremely bitter for me to see her rewarded for it. Cue to the next school year. Tenny comes into my room and asks me for the student data sheets that I created with Google Sheets. I told her truthfully that even if I did share them with you, there wouldn't be anything that you could do with them. I brought her over to my computer and showed her the formulas I worked with and how I needed to adjust them every time a new student section, etc., was added to the roster. She then asked me if I could just continue updating these sheets outside of my leader position, and I told her professionally as possible that I would love to teach her how to do all these things, but I would need a stipend to do so. She asked if any of the other leaders were doing what I did, and I said they weren't. I was the only one and had always been. I'm a bit ashamed that I did take the joy in seeing Tenny's face go cold when she realized I wouldn't fold and there was nothing she could do except cope with hours of data work per year or become proficient with Sheets Excel, something I knew she wasn't going to do. And the real kicker, the parents of students 99% of the time are a joy to work with. I really mean that. It's so fun to work with parents of people I care about the most. It's the 1% that make your life a living heck. I have overheard Tenny complaining about being on the phone with a 1% parent for 45 minutes, losing her entire grading time. A call like that would have been taken about 5 minutes tops since I have the experience of knowing how to stop curricular arguments and get the parent on my side for an issue. What is taken minutes is taking Tenny sometimes hours. Yes, she is getting my 1.5K stipend now, but I no longer have to deal with extra meetings, extra parent phone calls, miscommunication, etc. She's getting all the pay and I got more. I feel ashamed that I'm taking so much joy for this, but Tenny made my life heck in a place I otherwise love. Have fun, Tenny. The first comment says, I love it. Now find a less ableist school to work at. Yeah, honestly, because doing this, I mean, I can see how to somebody who doesn't know what that means, that it could seem arrogant or like rude. But if somebody has repeatedly told you that I have a hearing problem and you refuse to accept their disability, that is pretty terrible. Like, you can't just be like, well, you don't look like you have a disability. That's one of those hidden disabilities that a lot of people don't want to acknowledge, but it's like they're still there. You know what I mean? Like, it's still a thing. You just can't ignore somebody's disability because you don't want to have to accommodate them. It's not, and it's like, are you just lazy? Like, it's really not that hard to accommodate a disabled person. I mean, it really isn't. They're not helpless. You know what I'm saying? You just have to change a few things that you're doing. It's really not that big of a deal. But, anyways, my boss had a relationship with my partner, and I was fired when I found out. In my last job in an office, there were rumors that my boss was having something with a colleague. Never confirmed it until one afternoon I accidentally entered a room and saw them kissing. After that, curiously, she began to receive all the important projects and even a promotion. I, on the other hand, began to receive criticism for anything. A month later, I was fired with the excuse of restructuring. Was it a coincidence, or did they take me out of the way because I knew too much? Should I have reported it? The first comment says, if in states EEOC lawsuit for retaliation termination. I don't know what that is. I mean, I know what retaliation termination is, but as long, I mean, they have to prove it though. They have to prove that's the reason why. But the second comment says your partner has privilege or effing the boss, so she would get all the benefits and everything attached to it. Not a coincidence at all. I'm sure if you were effing the boss, you'd get the same perks and the same promotions. OP replied and said, but to what end do I say goodbye? If I had calmly kept quiet in order to keep my job, but since I had those meaningless criticisms, I said this job is not for me and things happen for a reason, right? It's a shame to meet people like that. Yeah, I don't think I fully understand. Had a relationship with my partner. So, but if that was your partner, why are you not pissed that they were cheating on you? Like, did I read this right, or I'm just tripping? Because they said they walked in and saw them kissing. So is this like your partner or like your business partner? I'm confused. Either way, that's ridiculous. But there are perks to having sexual relations with the boss. My coworker acts like my manager and I'm losing my mind. I swear my coworker Alicia has a secret job title and it's my unofficial unwanted micromanager. We have the same exact role, we report to the same person, we have the same responsibilities, and yet somehow in her mind she is my direct supervisor. It's a daily thing. Our actual manager will assign me a task, and 5 minutes later, I'll get a message from Alicia. Hey, just checking on the report for Mark, our boss. Let me know if you need me to review anything before you send it. She never offers to help, only to review. Last week, in a team meeting, our boss assigned me to a project. She immediately chimed in with, Great, and how can you make sure to send me the draft by the EOD Wednesday? I want to give it a once over before it goes up to the chain. She said this in front of everyone, including her actual boss, who just kind of blinked. I'm a non confrontational person, so usually I just say, okay, thanks, but inside I'm screaming. The breaking point was this morning. She walked over to my desk, pointed at my screen, and said, You should really format that data differently. Just stop what you're doing and I'll send you the template I use. It's much better. I just looked at her and said, I don't work for you. We're peers. I'm just so tired of having to manage her attempts to manage me. It's like having two bosses, but I only get paid for one. Has anyone else dealt with a shadow manager on their team? How do you get them to back off without making it a huge HR issue? The first comment says, Y'all really need to learn how to speak up and stand up for yourselves. The second comment says, If she asks to review anything again, just say, No thanks, I'll get my boss to do that. You can politely decline her attempts, and if she continues to insist, I would go to your supervisor immediately and ask for ORG chart clarifications and have them share it with her. Another comment says, Sometimes I see stories on here and I start to wonder if everyone is such a doormat or am I just way too blunt? Personally, when I was working, I was a very blunt person. So a lot of people didn't like that because I was considered like mean or I was being angry all the time because I was a manager of a retail store, but my personal thing is that like I'm autistic, so I have a very like I don't do it on purpose, but I have a very monotone and like straightforward way of talking, and I also think very like straightforward, like I think literally. Then they would always take that as me being like mean or I was like didn't like them or I don't know, but I always just told people, like, no, that's just how I am. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to help you, so help me, help you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm your boss. I want you to do well. I want to see you do good, and so it was really difficult for me in that way because people always thought I was being mean or like I was being too hard or that I was just not nice or something. And I'm like, well, I can't help the way that I talk, you know? Like I don't do it on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, there's an update. My coworker acts like my manager, part 2. A couple of weeks ago, I posted about my coworker Alicia, who decided to make herself my unofficial boss, even though we're on the exact same level. Since then, things have definitely escalated. The last straw was when our manager gave me a 2 week project. Not even 10 minutes later, Alicia messaged me saying, Can you send me the progress updates of every couple of days so I can make sure it's on track? That was the moment I realized I couldn't keep letting it slide. Instead of confronting her directly, I tried an experiment. I ignored her check ins completely and only sent updates to her actual manager when they were due. And nothing bad happened, no one cared, the work got done, and life moved on. The team meeting came. As expected, Alicia jumped in with her usual line, I'll review it before it goes up to the chain. This time I spoke up and said, Thanks, but Mark already approved the draft, and looked at her boss while saying it. His reaction was priceless. It was like he suddenly realized what had been happening all along. After the meeting, he pulled me aside and actually apologized, and he told me to always send work directly to him and said he would speak to Alicia. Since then, I haven't gotten a single unsolicited review request. She still has that same bossy energy, but at least she's not breathing down my neck anymore. I feel a little guilty for not addressing it with her face to face, but honestly, it's not my job to manage her behavior. Right now, things feel lighter. I feel like I can finally focus without feeling like somebody's peeking over my shoulder. So I'm torn. Do I enjoy the peace and leave it alone, or should I have an actual conversation with her in case she tries creeping back into shadow manager mode? I think, honestly, yeah, not the asshole. Don't confront her, especially since your manager did his job. Surprisingly, it's just gonna make things more difficult. I guess it's kind of a good thing that she actually isn't making a bigger deal about it. And I do agree because you don't want to confront somebody like you already solved the situation. There's no need to continue egging it out. Now, if she starts her crap again, then you can just politely let her know like, "Look, the boss has already told you to please stop doing this. If you don't stop, I'm going to go to HR." Period. Or but I mean, I would go to your boss first before you go to HR. You know what I mean? But like cuz your boss could get in trouble too if you go to HR. But I would just tell her that so that it scares her into stop doing what she's doing because maybe she's doing it to somebody else now and she's not doing it to you. I don't know. But it seems like the situation was solved, so it's best to just leave it alone. But it does really suck, like, working with somebody like that because it's like you want to do your job, but it's like they think that they have to, like, be in the front lines. But it's like, babe, personally, that situation, Bill, like, you don't even get paid for this. Like, why do you care so much? You're not getting paid no extra for anything that you're doing. Like, there's really no need for that. Anyways, the next story is boss asked me to spy on a coworker who just had a baby. My boss called me straight up and asked me to log notes of when my coworker was slacking, making errors, and when her baby was being disruptive remote employees. My boss was like, she needs daycare. It's not like we have cameras up in her house that can see if she's working all the time. I was shocked he would have even put me in this position. Besides the fact that she was a top performer before and never left for FMLA, and they demoted her when she got back from FMLA. Wait, hold on a second. Hold on. She's always done a great job and I've never had any problems. I just don't like my manager putting me in this position. I just don't like my manager putting me in this position against a fellow coworker. My job description doesn't say spy on coworkers. It puts me ethically and professionally in a difficult situation. My boss is a manipulator and a proven liar. I feel like going to him, he's going to get defensive, and going to HR is going to put a target on my back, and they're going to tell him anyways. Or worse, it could come out later if this coworker takes action with HR and my boss asked me to do what looks like a piece of shit despite I'm not going to ever follow his request. Help, guys. Any advice would ever be so appreciated. Personally, when I first read that title, it reminded me of Dwight when he went to go spy on Oscar and found out he was gay. That's not funny, but it is funny. Oh man, that was a good episode there. But all I pictured was my boss asked me to spy on a coworker who just had a baby, and I just pictured Dwight spying on Oscar, and then Dwight literally finds out Oscar's gay, and you know Michael's gonna flip fucking shit when he finds out, and then Dwight's just like chilling in the fucking house with him watching TV. That, that's honestly what this coworker should do. But but how would they know when the baby was being disruptive though? Like, do they have microphones or something? I don't know. I feel like personally, because you're a remote worker, I think just finding a new job. I mean, you just saw what they did to this woman. She left for FMLA leave and then they demote her. I would be pissed personally because I can tell you one thing. When I was working in a job and I got pregnant, I did get demoted for being pregnant, and I should have made a bigger deal than what it was, but I knew that I was going to be a stay-at-home mom and I knew I wasn't going to be working much longer. But if I told you a lot of these things that happened to me, in the store when I worked there, you'd be appalled. But basically, what they said was like I wasn't doing my job as like the manager, and that they had to put me down as like a part time person, because I wasn't able to fully do my job. And I'm like, bitch, I'm like 9 months pregnant. And they had another girl in there who was also pregnant, and she didn't do her job either. Like she literally just sat in the back and ate and propped her feet up and made schedules all day and sat in the boss's office. Like, anyways, we're not gonna go that far. But yeah. And then told me that I don't need to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, why did you demote me then? I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, I think, oh yeah, this is gonna be our next story. My coworker accidentally replied all to the whole department. Last week, a coworker meant to reply privately to our manager, but instead reply hit all to the entire department of 80 people. The message wasn't bad, but it was very personal. Thanking the manager for being supportive through tough family situation, everyone tried to play it cool, but the flood of awkward thoughts and prayers response that followed made it even worse. To his credit, he laughed it off and said, "Well, at least everyone knows I'm human." Oh. The first comment says, I wish more people were real at work. We pretend like we're robots, but everyone's got stuff going on. Respect to him for owning it. Yeah, I mean, it sucks that like you accidentally sent the email because I think we also just read another story. Somebody accidentally sent a resignation letter because I told you guys it does happen. You can accidentally send messages to everybody. I told y'all it can happen and not do it on purpose. But you know what I'm saying? But yeah, props to that guy for not. I mean, I know it's kind of embarrassing, but what can you do at that point when people have already seen it? I think this one's going to be our last story, and then we're going to wrap it up here. Coworker hates me because she works my weekends. I told my manager I needed a day I was off from both jobs once we got some help. Manager hired in a new lady, and according to her, she was hired with weekends off. She did for a bit, then the manager switched it so we each work one day on the weekend. Now the new lady constantly complains how she's tired of working my weekends and how she lost her weekend job because she has to come here and has some excuses as to why she can't do it on her off day. She is constantly making up things and telling the manager lies about my job duties, saying I told her to do something a specific way that was incorrect. Anyway, my manager sees her every day, but I haven't seen her in 6 months because we have different schedules, and it's a cycle. She makes up something. Manager believes her and doesn't ask me about it. Manager builds up resentments and sends me rude texts every now and then. Any advice? I personally feel like my manager should stop having a skeleton crew and one worker scheduled at a time. I wonder, do you guys work retail? It sounds like you work retail. The first comment says any manager that goes off the word of employee without consulting or investigating is a poor manager. Yep, I agree. I agree there. Because you know what? I had this situation happen to me where a coworker like didn't like me and she wanted to try to fire me, which I actually wrote this story and posted it on our subreddit. So if you guys want to go read it, I was thinking about reading it, but then I was like, I don't know, because I'm not really good at like writing stuff. But I think like this lady, she just like kept making shit up, and then like I would do something and then she would like change everything I did and then be like, "Oh, I didn't do that." But it would be like on a day that I had like not worked or like I left the night. Like I worked the morning shift, did the thing in the morning, and then she would work the night shift and then it would be completely changed when the boss came in to work the next morning, but I was off. But that's when I started taking pictures of everything I did, and when I did that, my boss used to also come in like after I would leave, or like, you know what I'm saying? And she would come in and kind of like look, and then she would see the wall changed because she started having me send her the pictures too. So we had proof that this woman was changing everything that I was doing. And it was so freaking crazy. Like, who does that? Like, but anyways, it sounds like this person just found a really crappy person that the boss hired. And sometimes shitty bosses hire shitty coworkers that match their energy so they can be shitty together. Just saying. It sounds like your energy is too good. And I personally have worked in very toxic work environments, especially in retail, working only one person at a time during busy seasons. Like, hello. It takes a lot out of you. And I think that you just gotta cut your losses and you gotta find a new job at this point because I just keep hitting this damn thing. I don't know. I don't know what to tell y'all. I'm sorry. But yeah, you just gotta cut your losses and get a new job because at this point. But that is going to be the end of our episode. And if you guys enjoyed it, please make sure you give me a like and subscribe. And also, don't forget to leave your comments down below so I can see what you guys are saying, how you guys feel about these stories. And I also want to know how you guys feel about the documentary and everything that we talked about in the beginning because, hello, that lady was fucking crazy. Like, literally crazy. And if you also liked what I discussed with that one, if you would like to see me discuss or yap about anything else, leave your topics down below in the comments as well. So that way we can find some topics that you guys want to hear about too. Do you like true crime topics? Do you want to have, session discussions about it? I was thinking like sometime soon. I don't know if I'm fully ready for it yet, but we could do like live streams and we can, have yap sessions on the live stream. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. But I would think that would be really cool to do. The only thing is that if I do live streams like that, I have to do them like late at night. So we be on live at like 10 o'clock at night. If you're in my area. It's like 10 p.m. Like right now it's like 2 o'clock in the morning because my kid didn't want to go to bed. It's been such a rough freaking ride, dude. Like, I had my kid on a schedule, right? And my kid's autistic, and so like I have to keep him on a very strict schedule, especially sleeping because he does not sleep. But when I have him on a good schedule, he'll go to bed usually with no problem. But whenever we lived in our apartment, because I know you guys remember me talking about that, right? So, but when our neighbors who got kicked out moved out because there was like many noise, there was like 5 different people complaining about them and calling the police on them like every night. They were really fucking loud. But anyways, and then there was like a period of time where there was like nobody above us, and I got him on a schedule, and I was like, doing a lot of good stuff, and then I had some new neighbors move in and they weren't bad at first until they got comfortable, and then it was like every day like they were just like walking in circles and throwing heavy shit in the floor constantly all day long from like 6 in the morning until like 12 o'clock at night. It was like fucking ridiculous. But because like I had issues with the neighbors before, like it was kind of just like, well, you either stay and deal with it or whatever because they didn't want to deal with it at that point. But at the same time, like they literally threw my kid off schedule, and so like I couldn't get him to bed until a certain time. And so now that we've moved, it's been so hard trying to keep him on a schedule, and I've been staying up until like 6 o'clock in the morning with this kid, and then going, and finally he'll go to bed, and then we'll get up at like 9, 10 in the morning, and it's like I only slept a few hours, That's been my life for like the past couple of weeks, and it's been really hard. But my mom is supposed to come over on Monday, and she's gonna help me. She can help me out with him because I also have like I have to clean the bathrooms. I have to like that's gotta get done. And I need to get a shower head for the other bathroom because the shower heads here are really freaking weird. So the water just sprays everywhere when you turn it on. It's just all over the place. So I need to get a new shower head so it doesn't do that because it's really annoying. And I also need to clean it because it's disgusting. And I also haven't cleaned the other shower with the bathtub because I haven't had time. And it's really difficult. Like if you have an autistic child, you know what I'm talking about. It's really difficult when you have 2 floors and you can't be in one floor or the other without your child being next to you because he'll either get out the front door or he'll be doing some stupid stuff or he'll hurt himself jumping off of something. And I'm like, I have to be up his butt like 24/7. And so, yeah, it's just been really hard. And I've been trying to post like 3 stories a day because that's what, you guys asked me to do was to post 3 stories a day. And I really want to post 3 stories a day. Like, that's what I want to do. But I just don't have the time, like the energy or the time. Like, I feel like I keep editing and then I don't have enough time to edit. And then, like, and then I can't do because I have to go to bed and then I have to get up the next day with this because I'm by myself. I'm here by myself. So I don't really have help unless my mom comes over. But because we live so close to her now, she hasn't been staying the night. And it's been like really difficult trying to do this by myself. But she's gonna come help me for a couple days. I think tomorrow on Monday, we're gonna try to take Enzo to the Halloween store, and then I'm gonna try to get a few things so I can dress up for the podcast for October, which is gonna be awesome. Okay. And yeah, so hopefully I can get him back on a schedule and I can start doing all this stuff a lot earlier, because my mom also got me, because my birthday is this month and it's on the 28th of September, if anybody wanted to know that. But my mom bought me a gaming monitor and she bought me a desk so that way I'd have a desk. And I was also thinking too of like doing like reaction videos. I feel like that would be really fun. But I've been trying to set it up in like the OBS and stuff and trying to get all like the TikTok videos and stuff to show up on here, but I can't figure it out. And it doesn't fit to like for like reels. I mean, I could do it on YouTube. I could definitely make the reaction videos for YouTube. It'll be a lot easier to do it that way, but like for some reason doing it in like vertical, I guess you can say, it's got me messed up cuz I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It's pissing me off. Cuz I can't figure it out. Like I get the camera and the microphone set up and I've got the screen set up to mirror like the desktop without it like only mirroring like the actual like profile browser that I'm on. But for some reason I can't figure out how to get it to fit into like the thing. Like I can't like configure it to just be fit. I don't know. If somebody knows how to do that, can y'all fucking help me because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It's pissing me off. And yeah, so I just want to make other things, and I also make like cooking videos and stuff, and I haven't really gotten to do that recently, but I'm hoping like I said I really want to get this kid back on his schedule because I really want to make certain content because this is kind of like my me time, and I love creating, I love art, I love all of those things. Like just having like art and like being creative is just something that I really love doing. And so when I don't get to do that, like I get, kind of depressed. Like I love making art and I love being creative and all those things. And this kind of helps me. I hit it again. This kind of helps me just be really creative and like doing what I like to do. I love camera, I love videography. I love all that kind of stuff. I love doing my makeup. I love like all that, you know what I mean? Just that kind of stuff. So, and it really sucks when you want to do that, like be creative, and you just kind of like can't be creative. And I went through this long period of time where I decided to just not be creative for a couple years, and it really like mellow life. You know what I'm saying? Like it was dull. You gotta have some art in your life, okay? You gotta. You gotta. But anyways, that's gonna be all for today. So, yeah. And I will see you all next time. Bye.